Happy Fri-YAY Divas. It's time. Here we are. It's another Fri-YAY. I'm Megan Enan. I'm a mezzo-soprano who is on a mission to change the world through the performance, proliferation, and commissioning of new music. I usually say that in a different order, but heck, we're doing it live. So here we are. So I hope that you are having a wonderful Fri-YAY. Lots of yay in your day today. And if not, as always, I hope we can get there together. And the way that I'm choosing to get there together today is to give you the framework for what I use with my coaching clients. So we're talking about this is honestly it. This is the framework that I start every coaching with. Every ongoing coaching client works with me on this too, is we talk about what I call like the three-legged stool, if you will, or the three pillars. You know that I love a good rule of threes. So I can't help it. I am just drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Rule of threes. So everything that I do has a rule of threes. So I want to tell you about these three pillars of our music business lives, which is offers, clients, and systems. We're going to talk about that, but I'm going to give you the three other things that I do before we get into that. And this is kind of, behind the scenes. So if you were coaching with me, we would do this too. And I always have my coaching clients write to me a stream of consciousness email before we get together. So this just can be as short as you want, as long as you want, as stream of consciousness as you want. The idea is that you tell me what's on your mind and you give me a sense of this is what's working, this is what's not, this is how I feel stuck. These are the things that I want to be working towards. I need some help or some guidance on this. These are, I need help making goals, whatever it is. So your stream of consciousness email, when you send that to me, I turn that into this framework that I'm about to tell you about. And I have broken it up in these ways. I always start with most desired outcomes. I need like a little thing here that comes up that's like most desired outcomes. So most desired outcomes. And you could call this goals, big goals, but most desired outcomes means like this is something you're actually going to experience in your life. And one of the things that I always tell my clients is your goals don't scare me. So go ahead and make them whatever you want them to be. You don't have to be practical with me. I'm not going to be like, well, are you really sure that that's going to happen or that's going to work? Are you sure that you can do that? No, your goals are your goals, and it's my job as a coach to help you get there. So most desired outcomes is what do I want to experience in my life? So as I'm reading through your stream of consciousness email, what I do is pull any of the relevant information for this is what I want to experience. These are my goals. These are goals for next year. These are goals for 20 years from now, for 30 years from now, whatever it is. Those are important. That's our guiding compass for the rest of the stuff that we work on. So whatever it is that are your most desired outcomes, I want that right up at the top because that's our compass. Then in the next section, I do my story. And this kind of ended up in the framework because we all go through things to get where we are. And a lot of this information is contextually relevant to the things that we're about to discuss, in our coaching sessions. So when I get those little bits of information, I put them under my story because it's not a bio. It's not here's what I need you to know about, all of my musical accomplishments. My story is really about how did I get here as a human? And so some of those things are musical, some of those things are personal, some of those things are relational. Some of those things just have to do with other paths you might have taken before you got to where you are. And so that is the kind of information that I really need to know, because then I need to know, what are we dealing with here? And then the other part is mindset. So these are these three areas that I get into before I get into the three aspects that make up the framework for our music business lives, or our professionally creative lives, as I like to call it. So when we go through most desired outcomes, my story, and mindset, before we get to those, because they're incredibly important. Mindset is a huge aspect of what we can do. And any information that you give to me through our conversations or through your stream of consciousness emails, any bits of information kind of make it into mindset. Mindset is like, how do you think about yourself? How do you think about the work that you're doing? And that information tells me if we need to do some inner work on that before we get into the framework of offers client systems. There, most of us have some mindset mindset issues that we need to work through before we're able to tackle things like tackle the systems of having our own business, for example, of being freelance. And I find that I can give clients all of the assignments in the world, but if they aren't thinking that it's possible for them, we're not going to be able to move forward with those things. So I really want you to take stock of what is my mindset about the work that I'm doing? What is my mindset about my creative practice? What is my mindset about my creative professional life right now? Do I think that this is available to me? I'm going to say that again. Do I think that this is available to me? Because if you don't think that it's available to you, the tactics that we talk about aren't going to go anywhere. And so that's why we have to talk about those three. So we talk about most desired outcomes. We talk about my story. We talk about mindset, because then we can jump in to talking about these three pillars that I love so much: offers, clients, and systems. So when I started thinking about our professionally creative lives, and I thought, okay, how do you talk about creating this business that works for, what are these macro elements that are the same concept for composers, for performers, for nonprofit individuals, for writers, for, I don't know, like record labels, like that, all of that. How do I talk to all of these different types of entrepreneurs? How do we talk to them if we don't have some sort of shared language that we can talk about? And that's why I broke it into offers, clients, and systems, is because those are the clearest ways that I've found for us to get on the same page about what it is that you're doing. So offers are what you're putting out into the world that you want people to pay you for. So offers are your verbs. What are your verbs, right? So for me, my offers are performing, right? My offers are teaching. My offers are presenting. My offers are writing. My offers are communication and marketing work. So I'm just tossing these out there because I know that a bunch of us in the creative professions have many offers that don't always fall under like one umbrella. And so I've worked with tons of people that like one of their offers is sculpture and another one of their offers is composition. One of their offers is childcare. One of their offers is home design or improvement or whatever, because you're very multifaceted. You've got a lot of things. You wear a lot of hats. Like, I have to have something where we can talk about all of those different things because I want to know. So your offers are like, what's your verb is basically what I want to know. What's your verb? What are your verbs that you do, and do you get paid for them? And your offers don't have to be making you money right now. We always talk about, is this offer already an income stream, or are you wanting it to become an income stream? And then we also talk about the ratio. What's the ratio of income that you want to be making from this offer? And also, what's the ratio of time you want to be spending on this offer? So those are things that we cover in that area. There's obviously more. We're not going to go through that all right now because I'm just giving you the framework, but I do want to talk more about these things going forward in Fri-YAYs. So I thought I'd at least give the outline for things now. So next, after we talk about offers, then we talk about clients. And if clients feels too businessy for you, it's community. Like, that's it. That is the bedrock of this community. We're talking about people. Who is in your professionally creative life? So when we think about them as, clients, it's because they're decision makers for hiring us for our offers, right? Those are clients in this case, but they could also be You could think of them as a boss, as an administrator, as a presenter, as a director who's commissioning you. All of these things are clients because they're all community. Community is about relationship building. And so when we talk about clients, we do a bunch of exercises about who's my ideal client. Where do they go to get information about the things that I do? Where would they go to find information about the kinds of offers that I have, right? We also talk about, where are you in your relationship building with your clients, with your ideal clients? We talk about how do we increase that? How do we actually build healthy and sustainable relationships with our community? Those are also things that we talk about. Then it's obviously, like I said, there's so much to get into there, but as all I want you to know is this, like, the clients is clients, collaborators, community, all of these kinds of things that when we're talking about people, that's what we're talking about, right? People are so important to how we make it in whatever ways that you want to. Remember, most desired outcomes, that's it. We don't work in a vacuum. There are other people doing their offers, in community with you and your offers, and that we're all in this ecosystem. And so ecosystem, speaking of systems, that's the third one. So the third pillar that we talk about in this professionally creative life is systems. And I find that with a lot of my clients, we actually talk about systems quite a bit because they're feeling burned out. When you're coming to me because you're burned out, because you're experiencing burnout, I know that that's what we need to talk about, because you are probably very clear on what your offers are. You're probably also pretty clear on who your community is or who your clients are. What is happening when you're burned out is that you are reinventing the wheel every single time you have a project, every single time you have an idea. You're reinventing the wheel, you are building it from the ground up. Systems are about taking a look at your offers and your clients and figuring out ways that you can cut down on the amount of decision making that you have to do in there, the workflow that has to happen to connect offers with clients and vice versa, and clients paying you for the offers that you have. So systems are about taking a look and being like, does my business actually run? Or is every single one of these a one-off, right? Is every single time, every iteration that I do of an offer, is it a one-off? Am I creating it from the ground up? Am I figuring out? So a couple of examples are figuring out your pricing, right? If you are figuring out new prices for every single project, that is an exhausting practice that doesn't work with your creatively professional life, etc. So figuring out your prices. Watch that Fri-YAY video about setting your own prices. It's really, I think it's really important. Setting systems for things is like, what is the timetable that you work on? What are your working hours? What's your working setting? What tools do you use to get your job done? Do you know how long things take, right? Also, do you have an intake system? Do you have an onboarding system for new clients or new collaborators? Do you have an exit system for the same thing, right? What happens when the project is done? Do you have an invoicing system? These are all things that we can get into the weeds on. Also, I mean, not in the weeds necessarily, but communications tools, visibility building, those are all systems. So one of the things that I find heartbreaking, I don't know, regrettable, is that so many entrepreneurship classes in educational settings focus on one microcosm of systems and tell you that that's music business. They teach you how to make a press kit and for the entire like course or whatever, and they tell you that that's music business. That's not music business. That is a system that belongs under visibility building. So I just want you to know that that's where that's coming from, is that if you took a music entrepreneurship course and you didn't feel like it gave you that much, probably because it focused too much on like a small section of a system, and not even like the whole framework, not even like worked on systems only. It was like a small portion of a small portion. And I just really want to connect with people over this kind of information, because so many times I have people come to me and they're unclear about what their offers are. They're unclear about who their clients are. And then they're like, but I really need a marketing plan. And I'm like, well, you have to figure out what you're doing first. And so, which is not to say that I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. That would, like, we're all there. We all go through this process. And I feel very passionately about putting the information out there in this like clean, easy to understand way. There's nothing about this that needs to be like this hard to complete process. This should be like, let's figure it out in a day. Let's figure it out in a session. Let's go. And we got to talk about your offers. We got to talk about your clients. We got to talk about your systems. And we'll just keep going from there. So that's what I want you to do from this Fri-YAY. If this is something that you're thinking about, or you're wondering, how do I make my professionally creative life go more smoothly? Then I want you to think about this framework. I want you to go, what are my offers? Who are my clients? Who's my community? Who are my collaborators? And I want you to ask, do I have excellent systems in place? What are your systems that are making your life run? So until you start thinking through those things, then it can feel very exhausting. So I get it. I get why you're burned out, or I get why it just feels hard all the time. I just want to give you this information. If you are interested in doing coachings with me, get a hold of me. Message me here, wherever you're watching this. Obviously, I'm here for that, but I'm more here for people taking this information and running with it and positively implementing it into their life. So if you want to do this at home, if you want to do this on your own, before we meet, or, outside of us meeting, I want you to go back and go, what are my most desired outcomes? What are my big goals? What are my seemingly impossible goals? But also, what are the goals for like next week? What are the goals for next year? So think about, use whatever scope you want to, most desired outcomes. Then think about, what's my story? If I'm telling myself, like, how did I get here? What's up then on my path? Like, who am I as a person? Who am I as an artist? And then I want you to say, what's my mindset? What am I telling myself about what's available to me in this life? Then you can break down your professionally creative life, that you break down your offers. What are my verbs? What do I do that I want people to pay me for? Then you can ask yourself, like, how much of my income do I want that to represent? How much of my time do I want that to represent? Those are kind of your sub points for offers. And then you can do clients. Who are my clients? Who are the people that are making decisions about my offers? Who are paying for my offers? Who are those people? Who am I collaborating with? Who is my community? And then think about your systems. Do I have systems in place so that this business can start to run more smoothly, so that I'm cutting down on the administrative time that I spend in my business, so that I can do my offers more, so that I can have the most fun in my offers, right? Not spending time in what could be a system. I hope that makes sense. Okay, divas. Take a breath with me. Just very passionate about these things. So I hope that gives you something to play around with, to think about, to let that inspire you for whatever's coming up next for you. And as always, stay sparkly inside and out. Until next time.